All right, let's jump right in. We're breaking down a conflict that is escalating fast. Afghanistan and Pakistan are trading blows, and believe me, the rhetoric has hit a fever pitch. So, just how serious is this? Well, you've got cross border airstrikes, military outposts getting completely overrun, and official statements that sound an awful lot like the first shots of a real war. It all boils down to this one question. Are we watching the start of an open war along that incredibly volatile Durand Line? And this is the number that really blew this whole thing wide open. 55. That's how many Pakistani soldiers Afghanistan's Taliban government claimed its forces killed in just one night of retaliatory attacks. I mean, that is a stunning claim. And then, things just went to a whole other level. Pakistan's own defense minister, Khwaja Asif, he gets on social media and announces what he calls an open war. You heard that right. He officially framed this as a major military showdown. Okay, so let's break this down. To really get how we ended up with declarations of open war, we've got to rewind just a little bit, like a couple of weeks. This thing didn't simmer for long. It was a super fast, tit-for-tat escalation. Like a line of dominoes, one event just knocked over the next in a really dangerous chain reaction. Believe it or not, this entire crisis just ignited and blew up in less than 2 weeks. It all kicked off on February 16th. That's when Pakistan was rocked by these deadly suicide bombings. One hit a security checkpoint and another targeted a Shia mosque, right during Friday prayers. Now, Pakistan almost immediately blamed an Afghan national for one of those attacks, and they pointed the finger squarely at militant groups they say are hiding out on Afghan soil. So what happened next? Well, just 6 days later, on February 22nd, Pakistan responded. Their military launched airstrikes deep inside Afghanistan, hitting targets in Paktika and Nangarhar provinces. And that move, it sparked an immediate and furious reaction from the Taliban government. They did not mince words. They called the strikes a criminal act, a total violation of their sovereignty. And here's the crucial part. They reported that these strikes killed dozens of civilians, a lot of them women and children. And they swore a harsh response was on its way, and they weren't bluffing. That response came on February 26th. Afghan forces hit multiple Pakistani military posts all along the border in a coordinated attack. They claimed they overran 15 of these outposts and caused heavy casualties, which of course led to that absolutely explosive claim of 55 soldiers killed. But, these recent clashes, they're really just the tip of the iceberg. They're the violent symptoms of conflicts that are way older and run much, much deeper. To really get why this is all boiling over right now, we have to look at some of the historical wounds between these two countries that, frankly, have never healed. And right at the heart of it all is this, the Durand Line. For Pakistan, it's simple. That's the official international border. But for Afghanistan, no way. They see it as something drawn up during the colonial era that they were forced to accept, and they never have. And that fundamental disagreement means this border has always been a flashpoint for trouble. And then you have the TTP, or the Pakistani Taliban. Now, this is a whole different group, dedicated to overthrowing the government in Pakistan. And here's the core of the accusation from Islamabad, and really their whole reason for the airstrikes. They say the Afghan Taliban is giving the TTP a safe place to hide out and launch attacks. Of course, the Taliban in Kabul completely denies this. They basically say, hey, Pakistan's internal security problems are their own, not ours. This isn't just a shooting war. Alongside the actual fighting, there is a fierce information war going on. Both sides are pushing these really powerful and totally opposite stories to justify what they're doing and get people on their side. And man, these two narratives could not be more different. On one side, you have Pakistan's defense minister literally claiming Afghanistan has become a colony of India and is fighting a proxy war for them. And on the other side, Afghanistan's story is all about emotion and revenge. It's focused completely on avenging the innocent civilians and children they say were killed in those Pakistani airstrikes. So if this does blow up, what would a direct conflict actually look like? Well, this is what's so fascinating. It's a totally asymmetric battlefield. This isn't your classic state versus state war. What you have is a modern, conventional army going up against one of the most formidable, battle-hardened, irregular forces on the planet. And the difference in what each side brings to the table is just stark. Pakistan has a professional military, F-16 fighter jets, and let's not forget, nuclear weapons. But the Taliban, they have their own unique advantages. Their command structure is decentralized, which makes it super hard to target. They have a chilling readiness to use suicide fighters as a strategic weapon. And they have a massive new arsenal. And this is the real game changer here. The Taliban of today is not the same force from 20 years ago. Not even close. When the US pulled out in 2021, they inherited billions of dollars worth of advanced American military gear. We're talking about them going from an irregular fighting force to a group that now controls a modern, American-equipped military infrastructure. That completely changes the game. So the big question is, where does this all go from here? Right now, the situation is just incredibly volatile. It looks like both sides are doubling down, not backing off one bit, which is raising the stakes for the whole region. The international community is definitely starting to get nervous. You have the UN calling for maximum restraint, and regional players like Qatar are trying to step in and mediate. But on the ground, the conflict is actually getting wider. Pakistan has already launched a new military operation. And to make things even more complicated, separatist groups like the Baloch Liberation Army have now announced they're backing Afghanistan, potentially opening up a whole new front in this fight. And that really leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? With both sides so locked into this cycle of violence, with all of these historical grievances and these competing stories they're telling, is there any room left for diplomacy to even work? Or has this fire, which has been fueled by decades of deep, deep mistrust, just gotten too big to put out?